Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christy. I'm a therapist and a relationship coach. And if you're new here, welcome. Please do me a favor and press the subscribe button and the like button because in this channel, I really like to go over psychology tips, really informative and science-based tactics in combination with some modern dating tips that would genuinely help men specifically, not only would improve their intimacy and connection with women specifically, but create better quality relationships in general with the world and the people around them. Because I always believe, and I practice this myself, the quality of your relationships and those around you is really the determinant factor of the quality of your overall life. No amount of money or fame can really give you this. And so yes, let's create some closer relationships and higher quality connections with your friends, family, and of course, women. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the biggest turn-ons for most women. And now I'm not going to be talking about any manipulative tactics or relationship guru stuff that go be a little bit more alpha or focus on leaning back and hot and cold and kind of game playing things in which I genuinely don't think good people and healthy people are really looking for. So if you want to stay authentic and you want to find a woman who is healthy and also authentic and moralistically compliant, right, to your values, this is what I'm going to be talking about. Some characteristics in which women in that population of the society, good, healthy women, are looking for, and some characteristics that you should practice because these are really important for you to practice in order to better your game in any relationship life. So before I start talking about some of the characteristics that I'm going to be going over, I want to highlight that these characteristics show up kind of differently in the beginning of the courting stages and in comparison to maintaining the relationship. So whether she's your wife or girlfriend, it's important to maintain these characteristics not only for the betterment and health of the relationship, but genuinely it's for your mental health as a whole. There's a huge correlation between your mental health and how you're doing inwardly in comparison to the health of your relationship and vice versa. And so if you're not maintaining it overall, you will be affected, and not only your relationship. So it's really important to practice these things even if it's not with the goal of improving your relationship. But of course, it benefits everything. And again, I want to focus on authentic characteristics, but tactics in which you can use to practice to show these characteristics. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why these characteristics are important in the beginning and middle and obviously throughout the relationship, and also some specific examples of how they may show up depending on which stage of the relationship that you're in. So let's get straight to it. Number one, it's your security. And now, when it comes to security in yourself, it's really important to understand that shows up as confidence. A lot of my followers and a lot of society tells you to be confident, but they don't give you the structure of how to exude confidence without faking it, right? And that's something I really want to highlight, is that confidence and true confidence cannot be faked, okay? And a lot of women, a lot of genuine people will see and smell the difference between true confidence and just straight up you're faking it. Like you're faking it until you're making it, or you're a little bit egotistical, too much of an alpha, like I am the best, right? Be a little bit douchey. So there's a difference. And good women who are, and people in general, will obviously side towards men who are confident and secure with themselves as a whole, whether it be positives or negatives. You take into account that you are a human being and you are always working to improve yourself, but you're not insecure about the weaknesses that you have and that you're working on. When it comes to being douchey, egotistical, or I'm too good for you type vibe, that's kind of like you're faking it. It's a fake type of confidence. A lot of people won't have an affinity towards that. It almost feels like you're not trustworthy and they don't really know you. And women just feel unsafe meeting these type of men because they feel like deep down inside, there must be something that is there he's not showing. And that can feel extremely insecure for a woman who's genuinely trying to connect to your core. So confidence in yourself, security in yourself, and knowing who you are, being accountable for both your weaknesses and your strengths is a really sexy trait. Now, how does this show up in dating as opposed to your relationship specifically? Confidence can show up in many different ways, and what I want to go over a step lower than confidence, how to have confidence, is being understanding and being aware of who you are as a person. Now, in order to do that, I always guide my clients to understand what their standards, rules, and regulations and provisions for how they want to delegate social environments, social groups, even obviously the relationships around you. And so it's really important that you standardize what you choose to accept and what you choose to not accept, right? Or you choose to, how many kind of warnings do you choose to give to a person before that person might be pushed towards like an acquaintance bracket or a little bit of an outside barrier bracket or rage or taking things personally. You just have a very clear-cut standard for how you kind of delegate the different relationships and behaviors and interactions that you're getting from your social group. So what does that mean in the beginning stages of dating? Standards can be as early as showing up on time. Okay, standards can be as early as being able to greet the person in a respectable way. The waiters seeing and testing whether or not she is treating those around her and the waiters in a very respectable way. Is she saying thank you to you? Is she telling you that she is excited to see you? Is she letting you know if she's going to be a little bit late? It's really important that you are not just observing the woman for what she's giving you, and even if she's not going to be a good friend, right? Like you wouldn't accept certain behaviors from a friend, and in comparison you go and accept, a woman you just met because she's really pretty, certain behaviors that you normally won't let slide, and you just kind of swift it under the rug. That shows that you're not really confident and you're not standardized between the differences of behaviors in general, right? So have confidence in having standards, be confident with who you are as a person, and that really goes into having security with yourself and the things that you like and you don't like. Now, in relationships specifically, as it progresses, it's always extremely important to not only know what your standards are in the beginning of the relationship. As a man, you're always updating it and you're always communicating what those standards are. You guide the woman to understand how to meet those standards with you, right? With tools and with examples and with practical examples, for instance, okay? Having confidence and having security specifically in your standards, but also knowing how to communicate to those around you. And genuinely, I say this a lot, it's testing whether or not they want to come closer to you and give you the kind of value to, and vice versa, right? To better your life in general. You are guiding them, telling them what they should do to kind of add value to your life, and all they simply have to do is continue maintaining that, right? And so in a relationship, always extremely important to not only have the standards that you started off the relationship with, but you're constantly updating those standards specifically and regulations and rules specifically, because your life is changing, her life is changing. If you're having children, if you're graduating, if you're switching jobs, if you're moving to new places, there always needs to be a revamp of what you're accepting and how to maintain a healthy attractive, right, and respective relationship. And so first, right, know what you want, then you're always updating what you want, and then thirdly, you're guiding her on how to meet those standards with practical examples. Now, number two, major turn on for any woman, for good women. Again, I don't want to lean towards the red pill community because I hear a lot of the times that it can be quite hateful because there's a lot of trauma with these type of groups, and also obviously feminists also, okay, lots of trauma, lots of polarizing views. Want to stay in the middle, to stay neutral, because that's how we create beautiful relationships out of it. So number two, it's okay to be a gentleman. It's okay to want to be a gentleman. Now, what I want to say is chivalry has not died, okay? It's women find chivalry, gentlemen very attractive. However, there is a difference between a gentleman and being chivalrous in comparison to being too nice and you're just doing everything in order to get her to like you, but she hasn't shown you the reciprocal energy, respect, attention, value in order to make those behaviors and chivalrous behaviors and rewards make sense, right? And so gentleman and being a gentleman, being chivalrous hasn't died. It's still really sexy. I can't even tell you how many times my girlfriends are like, yes, like it's so hot to be having a man hold the door for you. However, if she's being a little bit nonchalant, she's not that interested, and she's giving you signs that she's not interested, and essentially women do this a lot of the times consciously. She's telling you with her nonverbals that, hey, John, I'm not interested. And yet a lot of men believe that continuously chasing, continuously being chivalrous, continuously showing the gentleman side of you is going to get her to like you. And that is what I deem as the nice guy syndrome, okay? So being a gentleman and being chivalrous in general with a woman who appreciates that is still extremely sexy. But if you're overdoing it and overdoing it with women who has shown you they don't want it or is unappreciative of it or is just not too interested, that's when it can get overboard and you will end up hurting yourself, okay? So number two, being a gentleman, being chivalrous, very hot. Number three, having a good sense of humor. Again, I focus on authentic tactics in which a lot of men should be working on. And so when it comes to your sense of humor, number one thing that I always tell my clients to do is not take things so seriously. I don't know how many times I've talked to myself when I'm dating a man who is seemingly just so nervous and so tense and almost telling me about everything that he's ever done in life, and we just can't seem to have fun because things just seem a little bit too tense. And now, why a sense of humor or not taking yourself so seriously and being able to laugh at yourself and make fun of her even sometimes, right? It's so important because a woman, when they first start meeting you, they're trying to feel you out too. They're trying to understand what's your boundaries, what's your limitations, right? What's your humor? They're trying to get to know you. And so if you're setting the tone up for an interview or a really serious talk, right? Don't be surprised that the date ends up feeling extremely tense, or she ends up feeling extremely heavy and she didn't have fun, right? So really important, sense of humor, whether you like dad jokes, whether you like dark humor, whether you like anything, right? Stay authentic, but let yourself shine, right? Say the jokes in which you want to say, tease her in the way you want to tease her, right? Make fun of yourself and the situation. You are on a date, have fun and be you. Number four, and again, this one's gonna be an unpopular one, but I'm gonna be the first woman that says it. Kindness and being a good man, being a good person. Now, just like like how there's a difference between being a gentleman versus being just a nice guy, being kind is also a characteristic that is extremely sexy and a huge turn on for every single woman out there, for most women out there. However, okay, if you're trying to attract or keep a high value or a good woman, she's gonna want to see that you're kind, you have a kind bone in you, but you're not really kind to everyone, okay? So this is normally how it shows up, okay? For instance, you're kind to people who treat you well. You're kind to the waiters because they're treating you well. You're kind to people because they've respected you. You show them respect and you expect respect back in the same way, right? Very common equation. However, if you're overly nice, if you're unable to have your own backbone, and let's say you are on the dinner table and your steak came to you well done, okay? And you asked for medium rare. And a lot of the times, I see this in a lot of people, they would just accept it. They would be like, I don't want to cause, a scene. I don't want to make their life even more busy. Like, I'm fine with well done anyways. It's totally fine, right? Because you're kind, right? That's a very kind gesture. However, I deem that as nice guy syndrome because it's really important that you stand up for yourself. You ask for something in which you're providing money and you're going to a restaurant to enjoy your day and enjoy your company, right? And you want to be able to stand up for yourself and her and also show her implyingly that you're a kind person, but you also stand up for yourself. So, for instance, do you ask the waiter kindly that, hey, I asked for medium rare, but this came out a little bit well done. Do you think there's anything you can do about it, right? Really sexy trait. You can still be kind, but stand up for yourself. You can still be respectful and stern and leadership and take lead, but stand up and still be kind, right? And do it in a respectable way. You don't have to be super, super alpha and kind of start raging and start intensively causing a scene, which is very unattractive, right? And so kindness, still really sexy trait, but kindness doesn't mean you're not sticking up for yourself or sticking up for your relationship, because that is just a little bit of a pushover, okay? Very last tip that I'm gonna give you, and that's a really sexy turn on for any women and women who are growth minded, okay? And women who have standards for themselves as well, okay? Now, personal hygiene and wellness, both of them are extremely important. How you smell, from the way you look, from the way you show up and your cut and everything, because I always believe as a woman, how you feel about yourself in a t-shirt or how you feel about how you look in general is extremely important with how you feel and behave around those around you. So if you don't even like who you are, how you look, and you haven't put active work towards trying to make yourself feel better as a whole. And I'm not trying to say you need to look like a top GQ model, or you have to start looking like, Brad Pitt and things like that. Like, I'm not talking about that, okay? But it's really important that you're accepting of who you are, but you're also doing the things in which will better yourself, make yourself feel better, make yourself feel more confident, stand up taller, right? Your shoulders will naturally expand when you feel that way and you genuinely believe that you are the best peak performance and look of yourself, right? And so when you feel confident, you act differently. And so I always say personal hygiene and personal wellness, so important. So if you haven't started, you're gonna do that. It's been like your New Year's resolution for 5 years now and you haven't consistently been going. Well, you know where you have to put work towards, right? If you are thinking like, oh, I hope she doesn't mind that, I don't go to the gym as often, it's gonna cause an insecurity in yourself, even if a woman doesn't actually mind, right? Most women will, right? Most women who are always wanting to better themselves, both wellness and your hygiene. Hygiene also really important, right? Not only your hygiene in how you smell, how you look, your hygiene with your mind, okay? And a lot of times, a lot of people don't talk enough about this. Hygiene of your mind normally is, as a man, you are in control and you have rules for what kind of information you choose to absorb and what kind of perception of the world do you want to have and what kind of belief systems do you form in order to, understand how you want to kind of like delegate how you move around in this world. And so your mind is a powerful tool. Are you keeping always self-aware and keeping in control of how you're acting and thinking, right? And what kind of information, followers, OM models versus personal development information out there? What kind of influencers do you follow? What kind of social media platforms do you follow? What kind of books are you reading, right? Are you always keeping in check with your personal hygiene, your personal wellness, and your physique, right? And also the mind, your hygiene of the mind, okay? Really important, really sexy that women know that you have control over those aspects, right? A self-aware man is a sexy man, okay? A man who knows who he is taking accountability for both his weaknesses and his strengths, and being able to show a woman those aspects is so sexy. Such a big turn on. So I hope you found this video really helpful. Again, I hope you liked how I combined a little bit of how the mind genuinely works and also some philosophies behind some deeper meanings of things, and also how it may show up in relationships or on a first date, okay? Because these things are always intertwined. How you behave and how you think are intertwined, and all I want is for men to better their mental health by revealing what they're doing subconsciously, because the more you bring things to your conscious self, the more you are able to feel confident, self-aware, and understanding of who you are as a person, okay? Please do me a favor, if you are struggling, if you are wondering who you are as a person, what's your purpose in this earth meant to be, please do me a favor and use this video to talk to someone, okay? There are good people out there. There are good communities out there. And as a man, you don't have to suffer in silence. There are solutions out there. There are practices and clinics that will help you in the way that you genuinely need to. But it does take some time for you to think, for you to find those type of people. So love you guys all. Reach out for help. If you want to reach out to me, I am taking a couple more clients. You can fill in the form in the link in my bio, okay? And remember, mental health is extremely important. Don't suffer in silence, okay? Let's normalize it. Love you guys all, and join me again next time. Hi everyone, if you enjoyed our content, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and IG where we post daily, and YouTube where we post weekly.